Good morning, ladies. Good morning. I have a very, very early morning. Um, my cousin Stacy is having a procedure, so we had to be up very early to get her here. So while I'm waiting, I just wanted to chat for a bit for those that are open to conversating about broken relationships. I noticed that came up in the reading on yesterday about broken relationships with mothers, daughters, women, and women that spiritually abuse other women. I just want to say this. Number one, it happens. I personally believe when you find yourself in a place that you have experienced a woman abusing you or a bad relationship, and there's some brokenness there, you need to take from that. Number one, accept who that person is or yourself. Number two, separate. Be ye separated. You need to have space between the two of you all. Three, boundaries. Have boundaries. You have to learn how to protect yourself from women just as much as men. Ladies, my mother and I have come a long way, but we still yet have a long way to go. Sometimes parents or women, or just like, a man, they're not honest about the things that they have done or things that they do that hurt you. Sometimes people don't recognize their form of abuse that's hurtful to you. But when you recognize it, it's for you to accept that person for the way they are to you. And they may not be that way to everyone else, but the fact that they are that way with you says, okay, I accept who she is to me. I'm going to put some space in between she and I. We don't need to be but so close, and I need to have boundaries. I cannot be vulnerable with this person. When you constantly find yourself being hurt, misused, abused, or violated by a person more than one time, whether it's man or woman, it's best to separate. But you know how those of us that grew up from women, or just have had these experiences with women, it's not always cattiness. And yes, I think a lot of it is spiritual warfare and we miss it. But I think that spiritual warfare is meant to teach us what we are not to be or become. And that's been one of my most challenging lessons with my mom, to be very open and honest with you. Because I've always wanted a close relationship with her, like very close, but I've had to have closeness with distance, meaning space. And I had to have closeness with her with boundaries. She cannot come into the intimate parts of my life because of previous violations that constantly repeat itself in my life. So when the violations have shown up, I always keep that boundary. I always keep that block. But I just want to say to any woman that has experienced a broken relationship with your mom, with your daughter, with your sister, with your female friends, the only way that it will work is that it takes two people. If one person is willing to acknowledge and accept some things and work on it, and the other person is not, you're going to always go back and forth. You're going to always have that back and forth, that contrast, that, well, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. It takes a level of maturity. And ladies, I'm going to say something. I notice, especially in this day and age, women don't have the maturity that we think or thought. And even the older women that are supposed to be seasoned, that we're supposed to glean from, they don't have it either. They don't have it. And it used to be the old teach the young, but you can't always learn from the old, because the old have become so manipulative. The older women are so condescending. The older women are so gaslighting. The older women are so two-faced and so double-minded, and it takes a lot to get them to say, I was wrong. They don't do that. They try to find ways to manipulate you to say, well, It wasn't like that. I just want us to be better. People don't like addressing outs, especially when they're in the wrong. And I've noticed that. And we have moved into an age of straight manipulation and gaslighting, emotional manipulating. So I would absolutely just say to you, if you're dealing with a broken relationship with your mom, your daughter, your sister, even if it's your auntie or cousin, number one, accept who that person is to you. You may see them being absolutely amazing to somebody else, but if they're not amazing to you, you gotta accept that. Put some space in between you and her. If you all do interact or begin to interact, have boundaries. Protect your peace, protect your mental, protect your life, because some of these violations become so fatal because that envy turns into jealousy, and the jealousy turns into a rage of hate, and that rage and hate is a seed of bitterness that has been accumulated, and it will corrupt your life if you let it. So broken relationships with women, it happens. I think it happens for teachable moments, teachable times. Let it teach you what it's supposed to teach you, but I pray in the name of Christ that it does not break you. I pray that it makes you. The broken relationship between my mom and I from my childhood and the parts of my adulthood, it broke something in me, but I believe it broke something for the better in me. It has made me a different woman, and it definitely has shaped me as a mother. And I believe when we recognize who people are and just really accept that, we don't have that expectation of them doing good nor right for us. It doesn't mean that we allow them to walk on us and hurt us, but it just simply means that, you know what, this is not who this person and I are or potentially going to be while we're here on earth. And there is nothing else I can do to try to make this right or better. I'm going to leave it as it is. And I think distance and space will win this race. And I'm just going to keep boundaries around my life. I see her for who she is. I don't wish her any harm, but I'm not going but so far. When we start doing that, we won't experience so many violations, because you don't even have the expectation, because you've had enough experiences to make a wise calculation between you and that person that says, you know what, this relationship is one of those unhealthy relationships that's just what it is between me and her. And for people that deal with it from a mother standpoint, it is always a little bit more challenging, because if a birth mother shows you envy or jealousy, you know, it can make it challenging for you to see genuine love and care from another woman. So I just want you to know that these relationships are meant to make you. They're meant to build you. They're not meant to break you. They're not meant to tear you down. If you are a woman that have experienced it when you were young, especially childhood, likely there was nothing that you could do. However, the shaping of that comes in shaping you to being and becoming a better woman to yourself, to other women. And when you begin to be a mother, whether it's by birth or God blessing you with children in your life, because likely you will recognize a nurturing spirit that you didn't have, a nurturing energy that lacked in your life, a nurturing component that another child or children need. And a lot of times when you lack those things, and God saying people in your life, you know, especially children, it's because of that lacking. So that's your chance in giving a person something you just honestly know that you did not get, especially when it was your mom, you know, your grandmother, your sister, and things of that nature. These things absolutely run very deep. And I just don't want women out here, especially in our collective, I don't want women out here to feel broken and alone and by themselves, like nobody understands. Because as some of us, we can relate, we resonate with some of that, but we have overcome it. And I want to say this for sure again, keep your guards up. You should be guarded in life when you start recognizing a woman that tries to abuse you, mislead you, manipulate you, emotionalize you. Be careful of that emotionalizing. Women, I think sometimes in some instances, women are worse than men. They will emotionalize you and capitalize off of that. And also, they will emotionalize you to make you look a certain way to other people. That's become a known thing. So, ladies, that's all I have for you all. I hope this has been helpful. Maybe we'll chat about it again. Just know, if you have experienced it or you are experiencing it, is to build you, is not to break you, is to make you better, is to remove the spirit of bitterness. It's a lot of bitter women out here, and they smile, they look happy, they dress nice, they look good, but on the inside they want to break another woman down. And a lot of you make those women, you trigger them because of your strength. You trigger them because of your stability. You trigger them because you are better. You trigger them because you did not lose your mind. You trigger them because you did not become, or you are not what they thought or wanted. So you are a trigger to them, but guess what? You are meant to be a blessing to somebody else. Never lose sight of that. Don't lose yourself in trying to be or become someone else's puppet. Peace and blessings. Great day. I think it's Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Namaste.